guys, it's your girl Betzing and welcome back to my YouTube channel. So today I'm going to be talking about my modeling horror stories, but I do want to preface this video by saying overall I've had 99.9% amazing, wonderful, beautiful experiences, and usually the makeup artists, the hairstylists, the photographers, everyone on set is usually very lovely, and if anything, it builds up models and makes them feel very safe and confident so that they can take the best pictures. But there are some toxic things in the modeling industry, and I usually don't talk about them. I just believe in being very professional, so even when I do this video, I'm not going to share clients or different things like that who have done this, but I am going to share my stories. And the first one is from my modeling agency. When I first moved out to LA, I was 20 and I was very, very skinny, and my modeling agency was very pleased. And then a couple months later, they had me come back in. They measured my hips, my waist, my bust, and they kind of had like a disgusted look on their face. And they told me, they said like, so what's your diet? Like, what are you eating? And they like looked really grossed out by me. And so that didn't make me feel good. And so they kind of were like, all right, well, like try to work out, try to like, you know, like just eat less, and you know, you might have to go on a diet. And I just came out here from Michigan to make my dreams happen, so I was like, okay, like I just moved all the way across the country, so if that's like what's gonna stop me from getting jobs, like of course, like I'll do it. So I like worked really hard, I like dieted, I lost weight. Then the next time I come in, they're like, whoa, you're like way too skinny, like you're just too skinny, like it's gross. And they're like, the bones right here that show, like no client's gonna want that, like that's just not, it's. And so I was like, okay, like I didn't even lose that much weight, but like you just told me to do this. So I was like, okay. Just like, you know, at the time I had a boyfriend, which actually helped me to gain a little bit of weight, I think, as well. Because you know how it is, like when you're dating somebody, you're like going out to eat all the time and different things like that. But yeah, so I came back in a couple months later. They asked for new digitals. I come back in and they looked horrified, like literally just disgusted with me. And they measured me again. They took pictures of me in my bathing suit, and it honestly just made me feel so bad about myself. Because when they measured me, they took the tape around my hips and they like, you're a 37 around your hips. Like in the modeling industry, you're supposed to be like a 34 to 36, and 36 is like the high ends, which is absolutely ridiculous, because also like I've always just had a butt or had muscles there, and I also have a wider like hip frame. It's just my body shape, and so like even if I'm really skinny, like it's hard for me to even be like anything lower than a 35, just because I mean I have been, but it's just super, like I have to be so skinny, it's unhealthy. And so I came in, they measured, she calls up the other agent while she's up, like she's giving me like those eyes, like the up down, and she's like, you'll never believe this, Biz is a 37 around her hips. Yeah, 37. She's a, yeah, it's weird. She's like skinny, but like fat around her hips. Like it's just like, she's skinny fat, you know what I mean? And she goes, yeah, no, she looks just like this other model. And I'm not gonna say the name of the other model. Yeah, it's weird, like really just carries so much weight around her hips. And I just felt so disgusted. Like I felt like so disgusting and like really gross, and like I was failing as being a model, because I was newer to this, and I also wasn't as confident in myself yet, and I didn't realize like where my actual value comes from. So I basically in that moment was being told I'm not good enough, I'm not a good model, I'm fat. And then my agent also was like literally gossiping right in front of me, and I'm like, I'm right here, like I'm literally right here, and you're calling me fat, like you're body shaming me right in front of me. So I'm like, imagine what they're doing like behind our backs. So I was super upset, but I was like composed. I tried not to like show that I was like absolutely devastated. But then she goes, you know, babe, like, you know, I've had some other models who have had the same issue, and have you ever considered hip laser removal surgery? Which I've never even heard of, like I didn't even know that was a thing. And I was like, what? what do you mean? And she's like, well, like your hips are just so wide. Like, I mean, it's just like a procedure. It might like really help you book more. And I was like, no, like I really wouldn't want to do that. I like the way that I look, and you know, at that moment, maybe I didn't because of what they were saying to me, and I just felt like so gross. But I was just like absolutely devastated, and I just wanted all those pictures from that day like just deleted and gone. And so I ran to my car. I was crying. I was so upset. And usually I am not like I will cry. I will be moved by things, but I do have very thick skin. But in that moment, it was just like, I just felt like worthless. And so I ran to my car, I cried. My boyfriend at the time was waiting at like a grocery store nearby or something like that. I ran in to see him, and all I wanted to do was get like a hug and be told like it's okay, that I was beautiful, or like just like have some level of comfort. But he was kind of embarrassed that I was like crying, that I had tears in my eyes in the store, and he was like, whoa, like what are you doing? And he actually like yelled at me for crying in the store. And I just remember like feeling so rejected by him and my modeling agency, and that I had no hope or future as a model. And so it was just an awful day. So that's definitely a horror story. And I realized also that like that modeling agency and people in this business, like a lot of times they like to tell people what to do and how to look and whatever, but really like they don't work without the models. Like the models there's no job without the models. So the agents actually work for you. So you have to like take back your power where you can. So for me, it was deciding like, I'm not gonna do whatever everyone else tells me. I'm gonna take my career into my own hands and do what I think looks best for me. Stay how I want to stay as a model, work out, be healthy, do what I want to do, and I'll attract the right people and the right jobs. Like after that, I like really thought about it, and I was like, I'm not gonna change myself for people. I enjoy being healthy, I enjoy eating clean, and I enjoy working out, and those are the things I'm gonna do. And also like when I went in and they measured me, I was also on a medicine for a health issue that I had that literally prevented me from like being able to lose weight, and it really like made me retain a lot of water everywhere. So as soon as I I had to go off that medicine, and as soon as I did, like I literally lost all the water weight and like everything like that. And so it's just like so crazy too that like I was body shamed for something that literally was like caused by a medicine for a health issue that no one even knew about. So yeah, it's just crazy. Like people don't actually know like what you're going through as a human, but yet they can criticize you and judge you and do it right in front of you. So yeah. And then the next experience was by a stylist on set a couple years later. She basically was saying everything looked unflattering or didn't fit, or she would like, yeah, it was unflattering. Everything was unflattering, and she'd be like, none of the clothes fit. Like someone lied about your sizes. Like I wasn't given the right sizes, and I didn't send in the sizes, my agent did, and I don't know if they gave them like a smaller size or something, but I literally was not bigger than a size 2. That's a sample size. Like that's a very small size. Like typically I definitely am at like a 0, or like a 2 is like small. Like it is small, and for anyone to make you feel bad about being like that size, like that's horrible. But I do think this woman was going through something, and she kind of just kept making me feel so bad and saying everything was ugly or unflattering and things like that. And finally, I just was like, you know what, I gotta say something. And at this point, I've been modeling and I've been on many sets and seen how amazing most stylists and most people are. And so I was like, I just need to tell her like why this is bad, because it might affect my job on set, and I can't have that. I am getting paid to do a job well and to take good photos, and if she's gonna ruin it, like she's a part of the problem, and I have to correct it. This is my job. And so I just like pulled her aside and I said like, hey, like I know you're probably not meaning to do this, but when you say the clothes are very unflattering or they don't fit or that the sizes are wrong, you're making me feel like I'm a failure as a model, and that I'm not beautiful, and that you know, I'm not doing a good job, and I look disgusting. And I said, I know you wouldn't want to hurt me in that way, but I am a human, and it does hurt even if I do have thick skin. and she literally burst out into tears, and she was like, I am so sorry, like, I'm sorry, I'm like going through something, and she's like, I'm so sorry, I hope you understand. And she even texted me like later on and called me again and was very apologetic. So I don't really think that was like her intention, but it was just a very weird experience. But I'm so proud of myself for saying something, because I think that I was able to learn, and I also think she was able to learn. And so, you know, and then the photos ended up turning out awesome. So it was great, and it was all chill. Like, you know, I would never like be mean to anybody on set or anything. It was very, very chill and like respectful. But I was definitely proud of myself for saying something. And then my next horror story would definitely be, okay, so this didn't personally happen to me, but I definitely was scared, because this is before I ever like even started modeling, when I was going to visit agencies. One agency had like 12 or 14 of us lined up just waiting to be scouted. And they literally, just this woman walks by us in like 10 seconds. And all she does is look at us, and she goes, no, 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 no. Yes, no, no, yes, no, no. And literally just like walk by and just like, that's it. Like she just like looks at us and is like, yes, no, whatever. And I did get a yes, and then the yeses like got invited back to the agency, and then they would go through like our pictures and stuff. But I was like literally horrified. And it didn't even mean if you got to know that like you're not beautiful or that you're not a good model or anything like that. Like it just is, maybe they have someone on the board that looks just like you. So that's why you can never take rejection personal or anything like that. Like that's why you have to have so much confidence that like those instances won't wreck you. But at the time, when you're trying to make your dreams happen, and before you know about these things, like you think that this person is like your only opportunity, and this agency is your only chance, and like, so it's a very like desperate encounter, and so you're just waiting for these people to like notice you. And when you get told no, like it's just, I'm sure it's like just awful, especially like right in front of all these girls who, you know, are trying to do the same thing. You feel like embarrassed, and I'm sure like you go home and cry or whatever. But yeah, so I just like think it's a very like dehumanizing experience. It's not personal. And it's almost like you're just like animals or something. Like I can't even describe it. But yeah, and then like I've been to agencies or different things for like swim week or things where they'll literally have you step on a scale. Even if like you look tiny and you're like just so little, they like measure you, record you. It's very weird. I don't know, yeah, but luckily the industry is really changing, and I do feel like it's very like body inclusive, and which is really good. So I'm very happy to see it change. Of course, we could always be doing a better job of that as well. And then I've also been on set where like I've heard clients or photographers talk to clients and be like, oh, the chunky one, the big one, or the little one. And I just am not a big fan of that. I would rather people call us by our names, but usually they do, and usually everyone on set knows the model's name and is very respectful. But I have heard like the big one, the chunky one. I don't think about me. I've never heard it about me, but I've heard it about other models, and I just know if I did hear that about me, I would not be too happy about that. I just think it's very rude. We are people. We are more than just our weight and our size and our shape and everything like that. But I've literally seen like models be sent home, and I know that that would be awful. I would hate that, but luckily it hasn't happened to me, and I don't really think that it would, but you never know. I mean, you never know. And let's see, so when I first came out here, I was doing a test shoot. You have to do a bunch of test shoots to create a portfolio, and I was sent to like this guy's house, and it was weird. I was super young, and I like got there, and he kept trying to like get me to like take off my clothes, and you know, then he's trying to get me to like go nude and things like that, and I really didn't want to, and I was like feeling very pressured, and also feeling like, oh, I have to get good pictures to build my portfolio. I didn't end up like doing a nude shoot, but I definitely was very creeped out. And then he like kept getting like really close to me, and like was really being persistent about like me taking all my clothes off and stuff like that, and I just like was like no, and he like was invading my personal space, so I like literally made up that I had a casting, and I literally grabbed my stuff and like ran out of there. And when I like left, my heart was like shaking, and I just felt like so gross and dirty, and like, you know, like what it's like when someone like stares at you like very like lustful and just like not, like it just wasn't appropriate. And it really like opened my eyes too that like a lot of times like photographers are guys who are trying to be around like young beautiful women and often put them in situations because a lot of these girls do think like, oh, I have to do this in order for my dreams to come true. But I will say I am a fan of doing the kind of art that you want to do. So if you are older and you're not feeling pressured and like you do feel like you want to take nude photos, like I'm all for that. I just think it can be a very creative, freeing expression of who you are in the right manner, in the right time, with the right people, but it also can be the opposite of that. And so it's just very, very good to be wise about that type of decision. But yeah, those are my model horror stories. You know, just being called skinny fat was probably the worst, and being told to get hip laser removal surgery when you're already pretty thin. And it's also really hard as like a perfectionist like me, who is very hard on themselves, to hear things like that, especially in the beginning, just because I always like to do my job well, and I like to be the best of the best, and the best that I can be. So whenever I hear that I'm not, it just makes me want to like work really hard and get it done. But yeah, I'm learning, and I've definitely grown so much from the beginning, and these experiences actually have really helped me learn and grow, so I'm grateful for them. Honestly guys, those are all the horror stories that I can think of at the moment. I'm sure there are plenty more, and I'm sure as soon as I turn off the camera I'm probably gonna think of some, but those are the main big ones. But overall, I love modeling. It's almost always positive, and almost always people are very personal and connected to you, and they choose you because they love your personality or your vibe. And I definitely think overall it's a phenomenal industry, but of course there are always experiences that can be negative, but usually I don't share the negative experiences, but I do think it's important every now and then so people do have like a good idea of the reality of what you are entering, because I often get like a ton of DMs about people wanting to get into modeling, and I do think it is healthy to know all the negative things as well as the positive things, just so you know that like it's not like as easy as people think. It's actually a very difficult profession. It's very emotional at first, but you just have to realize like your value doesn't come from your beauty that's outward. It's all about your inner beauty, and it literally, like, all the people that book, it's about being authentic and believing in yourself so much that like literally it doesn't matter what anyone else thinks about you. You're not trying to be like anybody else. You're literally just trying to be yourself, and just do your thing, and that's when you book. And I personally love that about modeling. I love that I can just be myself, and that's the reason that I will get chosen. I think that's beautiful. So yeah, and I'm not in those days where I let anyone tell me what to do anymore, because it's my career. So I'm not gonna let anyone try to have power over me. I have the power, just like you have the power in whatever you decide to do. And I do think it's important to listen to people who do know more than you, or that are experts in the field, but I also think you largely need to go with your instincts and always trust your instincts. And it's very important to be true to yourself. All right guys, I hope you have an amazing day. I love you so much. And if you enjoyed today's video, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and tap that notification bell. You know you want to. You do. Also follow me on Instagram at Betzing to stay up to date with everything that I'm doing. And check out my other videos. I have lots of pranks, vlogs, challenges. Well, I don't have a lot of challenges, but maybe soon. I have lots of pranks and things like that. So yeah, check it out. And I will see you guys very soon. I love you so much. Bye.